Hello there, my beautiful pumpkins, and welcome back to the Pumpkin Patch. If you are new here, hello, my name is Chloe Taylor, and on this channel, I believe that we have one of the most cozy, vibey, autumnal corners of the internet. And this month, of course, we are doing fall in July, which just means that all of our videos have a little bit of a more autumn-focused theme to them. And we are going to be doing a Summerween event in the Patreon this month as well. So we'll talk more about that a little bit later. Before I get too far into this video, y'all, I want to talk to you a little bit about our sponsor today, and that is Briogeo. Briogeo offers a ton of clean, natural hair care products backed by science, and it's all in responsibly sourced packaging. Seriously, y'all, I love my hair. Y'all know I have Leo and Jupiter in the 8th, so the mane is a serious part of my life. And Briogeo has a collection for every single hair concern. Whether you need help with frizz or you need scalp treatments, I was really excited to get a care package from them, and they gave me their Curl Charisma leave-in cream. The Curl Charisma provides definition and control while letting my hair do its thing. My hair actually, if you didn't know this about me, naturally has a really cute little curl to it, so this actually really helped keep my curl in for even longer. It has rice amino acids and avocado oils to help protect and hydrate my hair, and it's really been awesome. Briogeo has a wide range of products with clinically proven results. Take their hair quiz to find out what's right for you. Briogeo.com is offering you 15% off your order by following my link and using the code Kloee, K-L-O-E-E. Clean hair that actually works. All right, y'all. So today's reading I'm so stoked to get into because this is a reading that I feel like has been a long time in coming. I did a video way back in the day. I say way back in the day, but it was probably like just a few months ago. That was how to become your authentic self. And it was mostly just me sharing my journey to authenticity. And many of you wanted more practical tips, and that video still might be coming, but I really felt like crafting a reading that could be channeled for you that will help you to actually connect with who the authentic version of you is, because I know a lot of you struggle with that. You talk to me about that in the comments all the time. But before we actually get into the card selecting, picking, all of that, I do have a couple of things that I just want to share with you. So number one, I talked a little bit about Summerween coming up on the 31st of July. I will be streaming to my Patreon community at the Cosmic Pumpkin tier. So make sure if you do join, that that is the tier that you sign up at, we are actually doing a wine and paint night together. So definitely make sure you come and check it out. I think we're actually doing it in more of a Zoom format this time, so you can actually like be on Facecam if you want to and share your own art or your own cocktail or mocktail or whatever you decide to have. I think I'm going to try to do a little bit of fall-esque painting. I also have a mental health painting that I'm going to bring as like an activity. If anybody else wants to do it, paint it, draw it, whatever kind of art medium you like. You don't have to bring art at all. You can just bring your fabulous self and sit in. If you don't want to be like in the video call or anything like that, you can just come and listen in. But I'm really excited about this event. My big focus for the rest of this year is actually building community. And this is something like all of the little things that we have done as a community on Patreon to me really reflect that. Now, the second thing I want to talk about is something I did post about on my community tab, and that is that our community finally has a Discord. So Discord is free. You can access it everywhere. It's a mobile app on PC, on Mac, literally everywhere you can use Discord. And there will be a link in the description box if you would like to join it. I'm going to start adding it to all of my description boxes, but basically it's a community where you can come and actually chat with other members of the community, just like with like typing, not like voice chat. I mean, you can get into voice chat if you want to, but it's really more just like actual typing back and forth to each other. So far, we have a place where you can introduce yourself, a place where you can talk about witchcraft, a place where you can talk about astrology, and of course, just a general chat where you can just talk to other members of the community, and there's actually an ongoing chat instead of just back and forth in the comments. So this is something that's actually been in the works for a really long time. So I just wanted to talk about it right at the top of the video because I feel like it's something that really does bring the community together, and it's only been up for a couple of days while I'm recording this video, and I am shocked by how many members we already have. So if you want to be a part of that, like I said, it's free. There's no like gimmicks, no tricks, no nothing up my sleeve with that. It's literally just a free place for the community to gather, and I would really love to have you there. So definitely check it out. Link will be down below for that. And let's go ahead and talk about this reading. Thank you for those of you that are stuck with me through this long intro. I know I usually don't have as much to say in the beginning, but there were just, I feel like I've been away from my channel. Like I've been doing a lot of private readings. I've been also, my family was in town. Like I feel like I haven't sat down and just had an opportunity to be my authentic self on my own channel in a really long time. So hi, here we are. Let's talk about the reading. So pile number one, you have a rose quartz, and we are going to be using the, what is this deck called? The Modern Witches Tarot. Pile number two, I'm actually not sure what this crystal is, unfortunately. When I want to say it's like an Amazonite, maybe. I'm not 100% sure. All I know is that when I bought it, I asked for a crystal that would help with anxiety, and this was the one that was presented to me. So that is paired up with the Moon Child Tarot. And then lastly, we have a piece of purple fluorite, and it is paired with the, what are you called? Tarot of the Divine. I don't know how I forgot all of these different tarot decks. I'm also so sorry if you heard that. My husband is doing a lovely service to me and the community by feeding me. He's currently doing dishes and starting dinner while I start this reading. So apologies if you hear any sounds in the kitchen. Just know that it is a lovely act of service that is being done for me and my wonderful spouse. So, or he's technically doing it, so it's an act of service for me and him. But if you hear any noises, that's what that is. You may hear nothing because this is a pretty good microphone. But in any case, I am rambling. I want to go ahead and turn up the meditation music for you, and then we're going to get into these readings. So don't be afraid to choose more than one. Some people will choose multiple. Some people will listen to the entire thing, like all three readings, and then decide which one resonated the most. The one thing that I would ask you to do is really let your intuition lead, especially for a reading based in authenticity and finding your authentic self. I feel like this reading is literally possible, like not possibly, it will. This reading, I am channeling in the energies that this will literally be a life-changing reading for you. So sit back, relax. Let's go ahead and take a couple deep breaths, and then we're going to get into the meditation music. And if you're taking these deep breaths with me, really drop your jaw and your shoulders on the exhale. And one more. All right, I'm going to go ahead and turn up the meditation music, and then we'll get started. Okay, pile number one, if you chose the rose quartz, we're actually going to do something that I've seen White Feather Tarot do. So shout out to you, White Feather Tarot. This was something that I've wanted to try for a while, and that is actually shuffling the cards out with you. If you don't want to be here for the card shuffling, you can go ahead and skip ahead to the timestamp where the reading starts. But this is something I never show you, and I feel like it is totally worth showing the actual shuffling process. So if you would like to watch the shuffling and how I kind of set things up, then I would encourage you to stick around for this. Ooh, that card wants to come. So we're just going to shuffle these, and then I have more than just these. I have other decks that we'll be bringing out as well. Okay. And then I also have, we're going to add a couple of these archetype cards just to really get like a clear message. I feel like these cards are very, very depthy, and so I love using them. Kim Kranz, the creator of this deck, actually has a new deck. Ooh, there they are. Okay. Kim Kranz actually has a new deck out that I have, and I've been studying it, so I'm not ready to debut it on my channel yet, but I'm very excited for when that time comes. It's been a really, really great deck for me to study just in my own time. Now we're going to use a little bit of Black Moon Astrology, which I haven't used in such a long time, and it is one of my tried, true, trusted favorite decks, so living for it. Sometimes I'll take the cards that like fall out, and sometimes I will also just do that thing where you see me split the pile and then take the top cards. It's kind of whatever spirit directs me on. So that's, ooh, you get a fourth card. That one wanted to come too. We're not like, sometimes I'll also be like, no, only this many cards. But I feel like when we're doing it this way, I'm way more open to like not a set number of cards. This is Sahara Rose's deck. We're just going to take a couple of those. And then I also have Light as the New Black, or not Light as the New Black. This is the Work Your Light Oracle. Y'all know what a fan of Rebecca. Ooh, that top card was wanting to come, so we'll take that. Y'all know how much I love Rebecca Campbell. And then we also have I don't remember what this deck is called, but it's by Amanda Lovelace. And all the decks, of course, will always be linked down below. I always, always, always link back to where I got the decks from or where you can find them. Okay. So let's go ahead. So now the shuffling is over, we're going to get into it. All right, pile number one. So I decided to start with the archetypes cards first. And the first thing that I'm really seeing is, I love first and foremost that you have the queen energy here. I want to remind you that the archetypes are not gendered. So please remember that as we talk about different archetypes throughout this reading, they're non-gendered. But the queen energy is one that I am extremely familiar with. And the queen energy in terms of your most authentic self means that you have an affinity for beauty in the world. And some people I feel like would really disregard this as a natural gift, but hear me out. And I'm very familiar with this card because it is part of my authentic path, is the archetype of the queen. So we might be a little similar minded if you chose this pile, but the queen is someone that has a natural affinity for beauty. And we might think that like everybody, beauty's in the eye of the beholder, da 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 da. The thing is, when you have a natural eye for beauty, it's different. You might, like, everybody of course has their own idea of beauty, but it's almost hard to even explain this kind of energy because you can see it in the way that like certain things are designed. You can tell, even if you go to a restaurant, for example, you might be the kind of person that you notice the decor in the room and how it changes the vibe of the atmosphere, where other people wouldn't really think twice about it. You can tell when you walk into a place, oh, the person that put this room together, they knew exactly what they were doing, or, ooh, the vibe is kind of off in here. It's the same way when you see digital art or graphics that are put out for companies. You can tell when something is really well laid together and when something feels kind of off. And this is very subtle. So a lot of people do not have this gift. And for you, this is a big part of your authentic path, is having a natural eye for beauty and being able to spot when something looks really beautiful, very regal. You bring this regal energy to the table. And with the Pilgrim, this also is a lot about you having to journey to your authentic self. And I would argue that everybody kind of has to go through a journey for the most part. Not everybody just pops out of the womb knowing who they are authentically. Actually, I take that back. I feel like most people pop out of the womb being completely authentic, and then we program everybody to not be that. So I would actually argue that babies and children probably really do it the best. But a big part of your soul mission is actually to journey back to your authentic self. And you are going through this because another part of your authentic path is actually to become the mentor, not to find a mentor or a teacher. You may have already found one of those, but you yourself actually becoming the mentor and doing it in a way that teaches others to be open to new concepts of beauty, new forms of pleasure, even, I feel like would also fall into the Queen's energy. But your authentic self is meant to be more of an astute teacher, but somebody that has this natural affinity for pleasure and beauty. You're not going to go through this, like, I almost feel like the typical structure of what somebody that is a mentor would look like or work through. You definitely have a different way of doing things, and a big part of your life is going through that journey and being the pilgrim of your own life, traveling maybe even to different places in the world to discover your inner world more. But let's go ahead and break this down a little farther. We're going to get out that Modern Witches Tarot, those cards that we drew. And we have the Five of Swords. We have the Sun. We have the Ace of Wands, the Seven of Cups, and the King of Swords. Ooh, sorry, I put us down a little crooked. My bad. Okay, so these cards, the Five of Swords, to me, when I pulled this out, I didn't feel like it was you fighting everyone. This is actually you becoming someone that really, really, really holds your own and stands up for yourself. And so much so that you might even end up being more like a King of Swords. Maybe you always thought that you were going to be like, oh, I don't know, almost more of like an underdog. Maybe you've had to go through a lot in your life of being the underdog or being really judged, but you're actually somebody that you are literally forged through the flames of standing up for yourself and doing things that are really hard. And this isn't because life is trying to punish you or that your soul is trying to punish you. It's because when you get to that place of knowing who you are, standing in your power, and like basically doing it so much that people start to praise the things about you that they used to hate. That is like a big part of your authentic path and your authentic journey. You're going through it for your own soul's development. And you will eventually come out into this King of Swords energy. Again, not a gender, but King of Swords is somebody that their ideas are amazing. They have really strong mental intellect. They have really strong ideas. They're not afraid to communicate them. They're not afraid to speak their mind. And you're somebody that is what is being built within you. If you don't feel like you've reached this part of your authentic path yet, you are seeing the polarization of it because you are meant to become it, if that makes sense. Like oftentimes when we need to learn a valuable life lesson, we will actually see the polarity of that life lesson before it actually happens and we get to the other side of it. So for you, you're having to go through some of these hardships where people challenge you, don't believe in you, don't accept what you're about. And it wouldn't surprise me if some of y'all also had major Aquarius placements in your birth charts. Not everybody, but I say that because I feel like Aquarius really is the underdog in life, especially in like major points. If you have like sun, moon, rising, even Saturn, I would say would be a huge one. So any of you going through your Saturn return right now, that's a huge part of your journey, is moving on from being the underdog to the person that is respected. And ooh, I just got the chills. That's how I know I've got it right, is when spirit's like, yes. But that is a huge part of your authentic path, is being, not that you aren't willing to take criticism, but coming to a place where criticism doesn't crush you so hard and you identify with yourself more and know who you, like, your path really is about the path of the self for sure, and the path of understanding the logical mind. So your path and your authentic journey definitely correspond with that. It's almost like, to me, the bridge between beauty and intellect is what I'm getting. Like, there's nothing wrong with having this like natural flair, natural finesse, and want to encompass beauty while also being extremely logical at the same time. I feel like it's actually a really beautiful blend for you. Then we also have the Sun, the Seven of Cups, and the Ace of Wands. So the Sun tells me that you are somebody that your authentic path is being recognized. The Sun, I feel like the Sun and the Star are the two cards in the major arcana to me that can depict more attention being focused on you. And that doesn't mean fame necessarily, but it can mean fame. It can mean that there's more attention in like social media on you, in the online worlds, especially if the Star were here. But the Sun to me is also people noticing your efforts, noticing the things that you've done. You are meant to be an astute member of society, that people respect and pay attention to you, because you've learned a lot already in your lifetime, no matter how old you are. I always want to emphasize this, that we don't subscribe to ageism on this channel. It doesn't matter how old or how young you are. You are wise beyond your years. You are a wise and evolved old soul. That's why, like, people maybe didn't listen to you at one point in your life, but now they're starting to, because they're realizing that you are extremely wise. You are becoming the mentor. And it's almost like you are somebody that your authentic self had to kind of like train to become the mentor. And now people respect you, want to know what you're about, want to see what you're doing. And the sun to me is having that attention, having a lot of attention. Now the Ace of Wands, you're also somebody that your authentic path, you are meant to be creative. And this is something that I feel like is to your praise, but also to your detriment. Meaning it's almost to me like the tortured artist, where on one hand, we get these amazing creative ideas that our authentic path is really rooted in that, following our own sense of creation. But on the other hand, it also can be very terrifying if we're not used to it, or if one day we're creating something and all of a sudden the spark for that is gone and now we need to create something else. It can be really scary in the transition to not lose what you were doing previously, but you need to learn. It is part of your authentic path to learn to trust your own creative intuition, because you are meant to create in this lifetime. The Ace of Wands is a very creative card. And the Seven of Cups also tells me that you are never going to be without opportunity. If you allow yourself these things that I'm telling you, if you allow yourself to evolve into this person, you will always have opportunity knocking. It's, to me, this reading is also almost like I'm really getting the vibe of, it's almost like you don't want to be seen. Like you don't want to be seen by others, but because of the work that you do and because of who you are and how smart and intellectual you are and your natural affinity for beauty, the limelight always ends up on you anyways. Like, you would rather your work speak for itself and not be about you, but people always start to take notice of what you're doing. And so the limelight always ends up on you anyways. And I think this is actually something that you might struggle with in your authentic journey. But Spirit is saying that you are always going to have opportunity. Whatever area you set your mind to, you're always going to have opportunities rise. So you need to just accept that you're meant to be in the sun. And that can be hard. Now, we also have the Scorpio I Transform. We have Fire Element of Desire. And we have Black Moon Lilith Mystery. Trying to make sure I'm laying them down straight. And then we have Sagittarius I See. What did I tell you? Y'all are really the intellectualizers, because Sagittarius is massive on intellectualism. Sagittarius literally is the philosopher, the person that like thinks the thought beyond the thinking thought. It's like beyond. Sagittarius likes to zoom out and see the bigger picture. Their affirmation is literally, I see. So for you, your path is very much about studying life itself, studying why people do the things they do, why people think the way that they think, why you might find that the realm of psychology is very interesting to you, or the realm of thought and philosophy is very interesting to you. The Fire Element of Desire, I find this really interesting because I also think that some of y'all might even demonize your desires. And Spirit is saying that part of your authentic path and who you authentically are, you need to make allowances for desire to come through, because desire is not something to be shamed. Desire actually creates inspired action. When we have desire, we feel like we need to take an inspired action to get that desire. There's actually nothing inherently wrong with desiring things or people or places, or just there's nothing wrong with it. So that's part of your path as well. And Black Moon Lilith Mystery, this card kind of always puzzles me because it's like the dark feminine aspect. And I'm waiting for Spirit to kind of, oh, look, you also have 21 and 12, which 21 and 12, they're like backwards, right? 2 and 1 and a 2 and a 1. Both of them are 3. That's funny that you would get a creative card too, because I don't know if y'all are life path 3, but life path 3s are also notorious for being the life path of the creative type. So interesting. I feel like the Black Moon Lilith and Scorpio I Transform are coming out because you are also meant to transcend previous versions of yourself. Like, people are never going to be able to nail you down perfectly because you are always trying to challenge the status quo and break out of the previous box that you had put yourself in or that other people had put you in. And you are meant to do a lot of transforming throughout your lifetime. Maybe even like, I know we're all always transforming, but I do feel like, and I'm sure y'all have seen it, okay? There are some souls that just come to this planet to transform massive amounts, not just a little. Like, even if we look back to our ancestors and what they could do and what we have the power to do now, it's dramatically different. So for you, I feel like transformation is a big part, especially because we have both of these cards, which both talk a lot about mystery. Scorpio is one of the most mysterious signs in the zodiac. So both of them talk a lot about like mystery, transforming through. I'm also seeing an image of like literally forging through the fire, being transformed through fire. And you got the fire element, transforming through fire, transforming through difficult situations. And this is like pure alchemy. I'm surprised you didn't get the archetype of the alchemist. I don't think the alchemist is an option in this deck though, but the alchemist knows that everything serves an intended purpose and new things are able to be created because of what was experienced. And for you, I feel like that's the word that really came out was alchemy, creating something new out of what was. So love that. Now we also have for you, oh my gosh, you got another, I wouldn't say, I don't know if Kloee is specifically like the dark feminine, but I feel like she kind of is. You got Kloee, and you also got Ganesha. And I just want to pay attention here for a moment to the imagery. Kloee is like this fierce, badass, divine feminine figure that like literally usually she's depicted with like blood all over her and like she's carrying a head. Like she is taking no shit from no one. She's holding a bunch of snakes in her arms. Like she is the master transformer. And you got 2 strong feminine archetypes that talk about this, about deep transformation and also connecting with that dark primal force of energy where the primal energy is, I feel like, something that we demonize a lot in today's culture, but it's something that is actually inherently very natural for us to have a deep sense of primal energy. And for you, part of your authentic path and becoming your authentic self is going to be unlocking that, opening that up and seeing what is in there, because I feel like there are some really deep-seated lessons that are going to come through in this like almost mysterious way. And with Ganesha, first of all, Spirit does want you to know that elephants might be very important to you. Elephants, they might be just a spirit symbol for you or something you see a lot. That's like how your guides try to get your attention. And Ganesha, I don't have the book over here and I don't want to misspeak. So I'm going to literally pull this up. I thought so. So Ganesha is one of the most worshipped deities in the Hindu pantheon. His image is found throughout India. Hindu, they worship him. Let me move this over here so I can actually read. Let's see. I thought so. It does extend to like Buddhism as well. He is widely revered more specifically as the remover of obstacles and thought to bring good luck. The patron of arts and science. Oh my gosh, you got science in there again. Like, I know you didn't get science, but to me, Sagittarius is the great philosopher, right? Very into the arts and science, very into beauty and logic, which is what I was just talking to you about. So sometimes, like, I literally cannot make this shit up. And the diva of intellect and wisdom. As the god of beginnings, he is honored at the start of rites and ceremonies. Ganesha is also invoked as a patron of letters and learning during writing sessions. Several texts relate mythological anecdotes associated with his birth and exploits. So, also a symbol of just like good luck. And your authentic path may also include writing a lot, whether it is journaling, writing a book, writing a manuscript, writing a workbook, writing poetry, writing prose. There is definitely something about writing for you in your authentic path. It could even just be like an email list or a blog, but there is something about writing for you as well. We also have for you Lumeria, which says creating heaven on earth. It's happening. So you are definitely an evolved soul that came here to help transmute the energy that we currently have going on, where I feel like a lot of us feel it, where there is just a lot happening. Things feel kind of bleak and dark, and I really do believe that we will eventually enter another golden age. Like, I genuinely have so much hope for that. But I do feel like it is us that are going to have to usher it in. And especially, I know there are many souls that have incarnated at this time that have Scorpio in Pluto, or Pluto in the sign of Scorpio. And we are the great transformers. I say we because I myself am one of those people. But we really are the great transformers. We are here to wipe the slate clean so it can be transformed, right? Transformation is the name of the game. And things kind of have to plunge into darkness before the heaven can arise. And I feel like it doesn't mean that you have to go out there and lead thousands and thousands and thousands of people into this if that's not what you feel called to do. This can be in your community, in your family, in an online space. It's wherever you feel called to lead. But ultimately, pile number one, I hate to say it because I really get the feeling that a lot of you do not want this, but you are a leader. You are a leader. And it doesn't mean, again, that you have to lead thousands of people. It might just be 5 people, but you are a leader. And I know a lot of you don't want to hear that because I can feel it. I can feel that a lot of people that clicked on pile number 1, because I feel a lot of the energy is in who I connect with before it actually happens. And I can feel that a lot of you have doubts about whether you're able to lead a space or hold enough space for others. And I'm telling you right now, you are a leader. And some of you are super cool being leaders. You're already in it. But there are some of you that do not. And you are here to start creating heaven on earth. You are literally kind of like that cheesy old saying says, be the change you wish to see in the world. That's you. And we also have for you feast, slow down, and celebrate yourself. And we have bitch fire, stand up for yourself. So remember how I was telling you, you are somebody that maybe a lot of people are always kind of arguing with you or treating you like the underdog. You standing up for yourself, your own creativity, your own empowerment, and going through that, you will literally be unstoppable eventually. And you might be entering that now. But bitch fire says stand up for yourself. So don't be afraid to stand up for yourself and what you believe in. And feast, slow down, and celebrate yourself. So I just want to remind those of you that chose this pile, no matter where you are in life right now, the world literally is different because you are in it. And I know that that can be a hard concept to understand sometimes if we don't really stop to philosophize it. But Literally, if you were not in it, the same connections that you have made with others would not exist. If you've created any kind of online space, that space would not exist. If you have a significant other, they would not know how to love the way that you have loved them. If you have pets, those pets would not be cared for in the same way that you have cared for them. If there's plants that you take care of, those plants would not be nourished the same way that you have nourished them. If you've cooked a meal for anyone ever in your life, that meal would not have been experienced the same way if you had not done it. And when you start to think about it that way, you'll realize how important you actually are. And I'm just really like feeling that a lot of you don't feel like you have this strength within you. And Spirit is saying that you do. The world is inherently better because you are in it. And it's time that you start to realize that. And I think ultimately that's probably why you're here listening to this reading, is because you need to know. So sorry, we got a little serious there for a minute. I feel like my Gemini moon ass like loves to be silly all the time, but sometimes it's a little bit serious. Like I'm getting a little choked up. But thank you so much for tuning in, pile number 1. I hope this reading helps you on your path. And please do not forget, when you stand in your own authenticity, you really do empower everyone around you to do the same, and the world becomes different because you are in it. Please do not forget that. And thank you so much to Briogeo for sponsoring today's video. Don't forget to use my link and my code to get 15% off. They really are wonderful. And if you would like to support me in other ways, please don't forget to check out that Patreon event that's coming up, and just join the Patreon in general, because we do weekly energy updates, exclusive pick-a-cards. We hang out over there. Don't forget to join the Discord. Again, that is totally free and it's there just for you. So come and check it out. And if you would like to book me for a private reading, I want to say I recently did a restock. I know I have a few birth charts available. I don't restock the birth charts very often, so make sure that you snag them while they are available. And if you would like to support me even further, I do have my Cashapp, Venmo, and PayPal listed down below. I do not expect tips from you, but I certainly appreciate them, so you can check those out there. I also have my wish list down there, and I feel like I'm forgetting some things, but all the links are down below, so go nuts. But I love you so much, pile number 1, and please know that the world's different because you're in it. Hello there, pile number 2, and welcome into your reading. So we're doing something a little different today, and this idea is not mine. It came from watching one of my favorite tarot channels, White Feather Tarot. Definitely check out their channel as well. This is not a collaboration or anything. I just really love watching their readings for myself. And they also do a lot of live shuffling. So if you don't want to watch the shuffling of your pile and like pulling the cards out, then you can go ahead and just jump to the next timestamp if you just don't want to watch this part, but we're gonna get into it. So if you chose this crystal, the mystery crystal that I feel like it's in the Amazonite family. I'm not 100% sure. I just know that the crystal is meant to help with anxiety. But let's go ahead and we're just gonna give this deck a really nice shuffle. Ooh, okay. You had some jumpers right there. So these are going to help us clarify some of your reading, but I wanted to start with them since it is the deck that you chose. And we're just going to pull 3. Oh, no, you got 4 more cards because there was a double right there that it wanted to come. I kind of like the live shuffling because I feel like I am more likely to give more cards when I feel like they just want to show up. Like the cards just want to be pulled out. So it's more fun, I feel like, this way than trying to like, ooh, okay, spoilers, there's 1 card. I feel like it's a lot more fun to do it this way because I feel like there's just so much less restriction when I actually share with you how the process is done. but let's go ahead. We're just going to get about 2 more of those. And let's see, what deck do I want to pull from next? I think we're going to do the astrology deck, Black Moon Astrology. Okay, that card is clearly for you. And that one. I'm going to try to get at least 3 cards. Okay, we're going to take this one right there. 3 of those. We're going to go ahead and get a few of these from the Yogic Path, which is Sahara Rose's deck. And, oh my gosh, spoilers. There's your 2 right there. Sahara Rose's deck, though, is this one, the Yogic Path, which I haven't used too much. It's pretty new to the channel. We're also going to bring in the Work Your Light Oracle, which is one of my favorites. I love everything by Rebecca Campbell. What I was going to say is that, of course, all of the decks that I'm using will be linked down below for you. I always link all the decks down below. Some of y'all ask me how I shuffle the cards the way that I do. I'm telling you, I just have very long, spindly fingers. Like, if you look at my hands, I have Gemini moon hands. Like, I feel like Gemini placements, often a lot of air placements, but not all of them. I feel like if you have like strong Cancer placements, sometimes you'll have like short, stubbier fingers. But I feel like a lot of air signs, I would say it's more of a Libra and a Gemini thing to have long, spindly fingers. And it's usually in like a major placement. But I feel like I have Gemini moon hands. They're just like long, spindly hands, long, spindly fingers, spider fingers. It makes it easier to hold decks that are really big. And I'm also double jointed. I don't know if y'all knew that about me, but my hands are double jointed. So I can like grip things really far apart and it's not hard for me. Tarot card reader hands. It's almost like I was born to do this, huh? All right, we're just going to get a couple of these. And that is going to do it. So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to pick all of these up and then we're going to get into it. All right, Pumpkin, we're starting out with the archetype cards first, and then we will get into your other cards. So your authentic path. The crone was the first card that truly jumped out. Literally, you saw it. If you stayed for the shuffling, you saw it like jump out and kind of fall over. So the crone is here because the crone is the wisest, in my humble opinion. Now you could say that every aspect, sorry, I'm getting a lot of like energy moving out of my throat chakra. So there's a lot of like, I'm like hiccuping and burping and doing all kinds of stuff. And I did just take a sip of water, but I also feel like that's like a lot of energy moving through, wanting to come forward. So excuse me, but the crone being here, that's what I was going to say. I would say that every part of the triple goddess, which is the maiden, mother, and crone, they all have their own wisdom to bring to the table. However, the crone is the one that has seen it all. They have been the maiden, they have been the mother, and now they are the crone. And this honestly is about having wisdom, but knowing that your wisdom is for you. You are not here to prove yourself to anyone. The crone is often a very like chaotic card, to be quite honest, because the crone needs no one. She is completely sovereign and self-sufficient. And this isn't about being gendered either. I'm referring to the crone as a she because it is part of the triple goddess, but it doesn't matter what your gender identity or your sexual identity or your gender is, the crone can still apply. So the crone is really about carrying your own innate wisdom and not needing to make your truth fit into a box, or also not to be like, you don't try to sugarcoat anything. The crone definitely has a harshness to her sense of self. And it's not because you're out to be mean to people. It's that you literally don't try to be anything for anyone else but yourself. The crone has been through it all, has seen it all, and now lives a life for herself. And this is a huge part of your authentic path. Now, we also have the riddle and the kiss, which I think is very interesting because the kiss is very exciting, right? It's the energy of the kiss. I want to make that very clear because some of y'all might literally never dream of kissing somebody else. That just might not be your thing. Maybe you're on the asexual spectrum, and I always want to make allotments and allowance for that. So please just take what I say and take what applies, but leave the rest. But the kiss, if we're talking about the energy of a kiss and how we have maybe experienced it or even see it depicted in movies, it like right before you kiss someone or right before you see it in a movie, there is this like electric shock, right? And this is really how your intuition speaks to you in its most authentic way. And for you, sometimes this can get confused as anxiety. And so you're afraid to trust it because there really is a very fine line between worry and excitement. And until we get very clear on what that looks like, it can sometimes get crossed, right? We don't know what is exciting or what is making us worried in terms of our intuition. So I would say that this is definitely part of your authentic path, is learning the difference between that. And the riddle is here because you are obsessed with life's mysteries. You are never okay with just a surface level answer to anything. And maybe that's why you find yourself on my channel, because I, like you, am a very curious individual. The surface is never good enough for me. I always want to go deeper. I always want to understand why people do the things they do, why they are the way they are, what makes people lie, what makes people cheat, what makes people, what makes them do the things that society will just demonize people for doing instead of trying to understand why they might have done those things. And I feel like for you, you are very much obsessed with the mysteries of the universe, the mysteries of people. And it's a huge part of your authentic path is to solve the unsolvable, or to maybe never find the answer, but you're always meant to continue to search for it and search for your own truth. That's why I think wisdom comes through so strong for you as well. Now, you got a ton of cards from the Moonchild deck, more than what I gave to pile number 1, but more came out. So we have for you the 6 of Pentacles. We have the Hanged One. We have the Ace of Pentacles. We have Death. We have the Magician. And the Ace of Swords. So a couple of aces here as well, which is fantastic. We love aces. I'm just trying to make sure these are all lined up nicely. Okay, so interesting too, because I feel like you're reading, possibly not with the editing that is done in post to my videos, but there's a lot of black and white in your reading. Like if you notice, like the colors, at least for me, seem a lot more gray. Again, in post, they might seem like they pop a little more because there is color grading done to these videos. But for me, they seem a little bit more muted and gray. And with the muted colors, this is interesting to me because they're not specifically black or white. They're very muted gray, or even like a mauvey muted purple gray. And I think this really speaks to the nature of you being curious. Curiosity is a huge part of your authentic path. You are not meant to just settle on one answer that comes to you. You are meant to continue to remain curious throughout your life, to continue to be a seeker. And I feel like this is actually going to lead you down a lot of interesting paths, because we have Death, the Hanged One, and the Magician. Those are the 3 major arcana cards that came out for you. Major arcana cards are always archetypes, and they tend to be a little bit louder than the supporting cards. So for you, Death, the ultimate transformer. I want to say pile number 1. Did pile number 1 get Death as well? I need to look so I can tell you. I technically filmed pile number 1 yesterday, so I I don't remember. No, they did not get death. Okay. That might have been like a personal reading that I did earlier that I'm confusing it with. But death is the ultimate transformer. And that is the number one thing I always want you to take away from death. Maybe you're somebody that is also obsessed with the mystery of death. Like you want to hear about near-death experiences. Maybe you have a really loud fear of death, which it is normal for the human experience for you to fear death. I think a lot of people do because it is the unexplainable. And until we get there, we can't really know for sure unless we've had a near-death experience. But death over the riddle card to me says that part of your authentic path is unraveling the mystery of death. So this might be a call to even read more books on near-death experiences. There was a time period last year where I was dealing with a huge, massive fear of death, and I still am not great with it. It's still kind of a problem, but I started reading Ram Dass's, it's like Ram Dass and somebody else, the Walking Each Other Home book. And that book will make you cry. Like it has such profound, beautiful knowledge about death and how we support people through the dying process. But this is something that maybe you need to explore a little bit more, especially if you are very, very, very afraid of death. That I would challenge you and tell you that that is an invitation to explore. The more that you can meet your fear head on, the easier and easier those fears, like they ease up. And for you, part of your authentic path is getting a little bit more comfortable with the mystery of death. So that's one way to like start meeting it where you are, read up on it. Maybe you want to volunteer at like a hospice center. Maybe, go slow, go at your own pace. I'm never going to tell you to like head first in there and like do something you're completely uncomfortable with. But I feel like for you, getting comfortable in that area is going to be something that is very profound because I feel like the crone is also somebody that is more comfortable with death. So interesting that would come up. We also have the Hanged One here and the Magician. I want to talk a little bit about the Hanged One because the Hanged One tells me that part of your authentic path is also about gaining perspective and allowing yourself to be a deep thinker, allowing yourself to be a little more philosophical, allowing yourself to find a little more truth to things. And pile number one, I feel like talked about this a little bit. So if you felt drawn to pile number one, you may want to watch it as well. Just pile number one talked about that. Excuse me. Oh my gosh, I just burped again. It's so much energy right now. But the Hanged One is all about literally stopping to gain a new perspective. Like we have this figure upside down hanging from a wire between two trees because they are trying to gain a different perspective on the world by hanging upside down. So it's all about gaining perspective for you and learning, basically stopping to listen and to learn instead of always speaking. And the Magician, I like this because the Magician is somebody that is like a master manifester. They are able to create their reality a little bit easier. They're also somebody that I just want you to notice how the crone, the archetype that we talked about, and look at this Magician as well. It is giving the vibe of needing no one and knowing who they are once again. So your authentic path really is about this. Now, again, I don't want to tell you that this means that your path, you're meant to be alone, because I don't think that that is true. However, you are somebody that you will always be able to go in alone. You might even focus better when you are by yourself instead of with like a ton of distraction or like a ton of things. You might be somebody that is like a very deep thinker, very high focus, and you do your best work when you are alone, completely in isolation, not being bothered. And like some people need like co-working stations, things like that, but not you. Your authentic path, you work extremely well by yourself. That is when you get some of your most profound thoughts. And the Ace of Pentacles, the Ace of Swords, this to me says that Mental intellect obviously is going to be very important to you with the Ace of Swords, so being a deep thinker. But the Ace of Pentacles, you might also be somebody that is a little bit more obsessed with the material. And hear me out for a second before you run away screaming, because I know when somebody accuses somebody of being materialistic, we think it has to be a bad thing. It doesn't. You can have a natural finesse for the finer things in life and wanting them, and that's okay. I feel like you might even feel that a lot of your goals are aligned with acquiring certain material items for yourself. And that is actually a part of your authentic path. In a past life, you might have been somebody who was never allowed a lot of material items. So in this lifetime, your soul was like, oh, hell no, we are going to get everything in this lifetime. So remember that as well. Maybe in a life previous to this one, you were the pauper that couldn't get anything. And in this life, that's maybe why you're a little bit more invested in getting things for yourself. There's also nothing wrong with wanting to acquire things. Just remember that things will not always be the answer. Like, I do think there comes a point where we have to realize that the hedonic treadmill is real. And if we are always chasing something that is outside of us for happiness, eventually it will catch up with you. So it's okay to buy nice things along your journey. Just don't let that become your reason for being, because it can become very hollow if it becomes an obsession that is that deep. But I would say that because it's the ace as well, I don't really feel like this is something that is so full blown and advanced like that, but it's okay to desire things. It's okay to have a desire for things. Another thing about your authentic path and your authentic self is you really like things to be equal and fair. And you're not somebody that is okay with exchanges being haphazard or not. I know that something being equal doesn't always mean that it's fair, and something being fair doesn't always make it equal, but you always try to find this delicate balance, because the Six of Pentacles is all about having an equal exchange of energy. What is going out is coming back in, etc. And so for you, this is something during your life path or during your authentic path, during your authentic journey, that is going to be of deep importance to you, making sure that the energy you're putting in is being reciprocated. And if it's not, this is why maybe you feel like you have to do things more by yourself, because you don't always feel that energy being put back into you. But the more you pour back into yourself, the easier and easier during your own authentic journey are you going to be able to link up with people that actually do give back to you in that same way. Now, we also have for you Saturn Truth. We have third house messages. And we have Aries, I am. So what I told you about seeking your own truth, that has been true throughout, cannot speak. That has been true throughout your entire reading, seeking your own truth and not basing all of your opinions off of what everybody else thinks. And I feel like that is true with the Magician and the Crone in particular, but also with the Riddle and trying to solve things in life, be more curious about life, find your own truth. Now, Aries, I find this really interesting because your authentic path, you are meant to go head first into things. So the things that get you really excited, you are supposed to follow them. I know a lot of people give this kind of advice to people all of the time, but for some people, you are supposed to step back and wait and see how your gut feels and check in with your body. You are not one of those people. You are somebody that when something feels exciting, you need to be barreling towards it, because that's what Aries does. Aries is somebody that they will act before they think. But the thing is, people always want to paint that like it's a bad thing. It's not. That's actually Aries' strong suit, is their first thought is usually the right one. And that's why they're so good at moving forward on things and not stopping to think. Now, sometimes, of course, it can get you into a little bit of trouble, but I would say for the most part, this is how you are supposed to behave. And the third house messages, you might even find your authentic path includes being a channeler of some kind, receiving messages, receiving downloads. Now, I will always say that I personally believe everybody has psychic gift. It's not hard to be a psychic. Everybody has gifts, and it's whether you want to try to work with them or not. And for you, however, this might be something that comes a little bit more naturally, because the third house does correspond to Gemini as well as Mercury. So being the messenger, being a channeler of some kind. It doesn't mean it has to be tarot card reading. It could be maybe you're really into astrology. Maybe you're really into book divination, which we've covered a lot on this channel. Maybe you're really into scrying. Maybe you're really into mirror work. There are so many different ways of acquiring messages and channeling in from the divine. And again, I believe everybody has this power, but some people just have it a little bit easier. And I think that also depends on like your birth chart and stuff too. There are points in the birth chart that also lead to where you can look for your own psychic gifts as well. But you're somebody that is a messenger, and it's almost like you always know what to say at the right time. Even if you feel like what you're about to say is going to be bogus, like somebody needs to hear what you've got to say, and it's your truth ultimately. Now, we also have for you the heart chakra, Anhata, I think is how you say that. Apologies, I do not know Sanskrit, and I'm not trying to butcher these. And then we have Brahma. I'm not sure how to pronounce that properly, but the heart chakra, number one, you might find that you are a very heart chakra centered person. And this, if you are somebody that reads tarot cards, I'm going to tell you right now, having the heart chakra show up in your reading is a good thing. It's a good thing because oftentimes tarot card readers will channel out through their hands from their heart. A lot of tarot card readers are people that have a strong heart chakra because the heart actually extends out through the hands. And so when you are using cards, something physical, to divine and give messages to others, oftentimes you will have a really strong heart chakra. So that's just something that I wanted to point out for those of you that are into that. But the heart chakra also shows up because I'm just going to ask, like, you can tell me in the comments, are you somebody that feels like this world is too harsh for you specifically? I know a lot of us, I feel that way, but like everything feels like it just hurts physically. Like anything on the news, anything cropping up on social media, anything. And I'm not trying to say that today's world isn't chaotic and that we don't deserve better, but I do feel like some of us are a lot more highly sensitive to it than others. Some people can just kind of turn it off and walk away, where a lot of us cannot because it physically hurts. And I'm getting this like feeling and almost like an image as well in my third eye of just feeling like you don't belong here. Like this world is too hard for you, and why would you choose it? And ultimately, you are an open, bleeding heart because you are somebody that is supposed to. I'm telling you, this pile and pile number one have a lot in common. You are meant to shift the consciousness here in some way. You are meant to shift us into a softer, gentler, more open-hearted way of being. Your work is specifically through the heart. And with Brahma, I think is how you say that. I apologize again if I'm saying it wrong. This is the card that is the god of creation, and it's all about creating and being the creator of your own universe and like bringing ideas into fruition. And basically it's a lot about like planting seeds and giving sustenance to those seeds so that they can grow into more. And I think that's really interesting because it came out over the magician, and the magician is all about, you know, bringing things into fruition, manifesting. And for you, this is all about bringing forth new life. And it doesn't mean you're going to like give birth. It can be new ideas, new plans. You know, with those aces, those are also gifts. Those are new things, new ideas. It's up to you what you do with an ace of swords or an ace of pentacles. It's energy that the universe gives to you and you get to decide what to do with it. The ace of swords is going to be more of an idea-based thing through the mental intellect, where the ace of pentacles is going to be more about something on the physical plane, receiving something physical that you can do something with it. It's up to you to decide how you use it and what you create with it. But Brahma is the creator. So you literally being the creator, bringing something new into fruition, you might even find that you are somebody that is extremely creative and your truth and your way of being are not going to be like the mainstream. And I have a few more cards here for you. We have the Crumbling. What are you clinging to? So this card about your authentic path, you are meant to learn to transcend, not desire, because I do see that you have strong desire in your reading, but you are meant to transcend maybe even like the physical body in some way. Not that you are not meant to have a human experience because you chose to come and have one, but transcend the fear of the physical body, transcend the fear of, because death, I feel like also is a lot about transcending fear. And the Crumbling, what are you clinging to as like for an authentic path? This is like being willing to let go of anything and everything in search of your own truth. That is the ultimate path that you are on. So in order to get to this truth, to get to what your truth is, what are you willing to let go of to find it? Basically is what I'm getting. And this can be a hard path. Like, I don't think that your authentic path or your authentic self is going to be found extremely easily. And I think that's true for anybody searching for their authentic path. It's never easy. But for you, the things that bring you comfort, a lot of them you are going to have to release. And we also have Villain. You can always rewrite the story. I'm going to talk about this after I show you the last card. And then we have Phoenix. How's that for happily ever after? So with Villain, I actually just put out a podcast a few weeks ago talking about friendships and how, like, basically how friendships have ended and how I'm okay being the villain in people's story. It doesn't bother me how other people think of me. And this might be an episode you want to go listen to, shameless self-plug, because I talk a lot about how to be comfortable with that, how to end a friendship and be okay knowing that this person doesn't think highly of you. Even if you didn't do anything bad, terrible, or wrong, you just went in different directions. And for you, this might be something that you need to let go of, is what other people expect you to be. Let other people dislike you. Let other people think what they want of you. Let other people vilify you. Y'all, just to, like, some of you love when I share personal stories and some of you hate it. So I feel like I can't please everybody and I'm just going to do me. But to put this into any kind of perspective for y'all, in my own immediate family, I have people that talk shit about me all the time, that don't even speak to me, that don't know anything about me and think that they know something. And I don't care, because it's not for me to change their mind. If they want to have a new opinion of me, they will seek me out and try to find it. It's not for me to change it. It's for me to live my life in accordance with my own truth. And I feel like this really applies to your reading. That's why I'm sharing. It's for me to decide how I want to live in my own truth and to let myself be the villain in somebody else's head. And granted, if I've done something actually terrible, I will always go back and try to correct and fix. But these are things that, like, with people that literally don't even know me. So for you, this is something you need to let go of, is this idea that you have to be this certain kind of person for everyone. because that's honestly how you water yourself down. You water your own truth down, and you don't let people get to know the real authentic you. It also keeps you from being the real authentic version of yourself. When you don't let people vilify you, you kind of take that away. Technically, you do people a disservice by trying to control how everybody thinks about you. And the Phoenix, how's that for happily ever after? This is literally being your own savior as well, not waiting for somebody to come and rescue you, but you learning along your own authentic path how to rescue yourself. And I feel like if that isn't crone energy, I don't know what is. So that is what I have for you with your authentic self, your authentic path, who you really are at your core. And I hope I gave you some good ideas on how to connect with that. I feel like yours maybe was a little bit harsh to hear, because I get the sense that some of you don't feel like you're living in accordance with this. And so you feel like you're going to have to change a million things to get there. But I promise you, you don't. Literally, your authentic path is a lifelong journey. You are not supposed to be on your authentic path literally tomorrow, especially if you feel like you're very removed from this. This is going to take time and steps and learning and growing pains. It's not something that's going to come to you overnight. Even when I talk about being my most authentic self, there are some days where I don't show up as her. It's not perfect. There are most of the days I would argue I do show up as her, but it's not an everyday occurrence. So just be kind to yourself on this journey. You're doing an excellent job, and I can't wait to see what you put out in the world with being like so strong-minded in particular. But thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much, Briogeo, for sponsoring today's video. Be sure to check out my link and use my code in order to get that 15% off. I actually used my stuff today and my hair feels so good. So definitely check that out. And please, please, please come and join the Patreon if you haven't done so already. We are doing that Summer Ween event on the 31st this month. And we also have just like other pick a cards that you can't get anywhere else, weekly energy updates, a book club that we meet every month for. Like, there are so many good things on the Patreon. I love the community that we have there. I would love to have you. Don't forget to check out the podcast, available everywhere you listen to podcasts. We're actually about to go on a little bit of a hiatus, but I still have so many episodes that have been uploaded there, and there are still a few more coming out before the hiatus. I also have my website if you would like to book a reading with me. It is the only place you can book with me. I will never solicit you for readings like on any social media platform. If you ever see somebody rolling up in your DMs offering you a reading, please know that that is a scam. It is not me. These accounts are extremely tricky. They will like copy my account and then use like tiny changes to the username that are almost unrecognizable. Like they'll put an extra E or something where you almost don't catch it. And then they'll pretend to fake offer you readings. So please know that is not me. You can only ever book through my website. I will never come and solicit you personally. And I'm the only person that has the actual Kloee Taylor handle. So if you ever want to follow me online, always use my links from the description because they will take you directly to the right place. I don't know if y'all know this, and you told me to talk about it more. I released merchandise not that long ago. Like, I've had merchandise for a long time. I released the Hermit merchandise last year and then like never really talked about it. So I actually bought myself one because I go through like another company that does the printing and shipping. I got myself one recently and I love that sweater. I wear it at least a couple times a week. But it's got a Hermit tarot card drawn on it that's supposed to be me. It's got my name on it. Super cute, really comfortable. I recommend buying it oversized. That's what I did. I bought the biggest size they had and I wear it like a dress, and it's super, super comfy. If you go to my Instagram, you can actually see pictures of it. I'll see if my editor will put some in here actually so you can see them, but super, super comfy. Some of y'all said you didn't even know that I sold merch, so I'm telling you about it right now. And lastly, if you would like to help me out anymore, I have my wish list down below, and I also have my Cashapp, Venmo, and PayPal. If you would like to tip me for my readings, it is never an expectation, but always appreciated. Again, all the fun links are just down below. Oh my gosh. And final thing, please don't forget to join the Discord. We have a Discord now. There is so much there. We have been having a blast. We've been creating new channels like almost daily as we've been expanding. I think there's almost 200 of you now, and we literally just launched the Discord a few days ago, and so many community members are in there talking and just chatting back and forth. So please, please, please come and join the Discord. I love having this space for our community. It feels so special, and I would love to have you there. So link for that is also down below. And I've rambled so much. Just check out the description. It's where all the fun things are. I love you so much, Pumpkin. Best of luck on your authentic journey, and I'll talk to you next time. Oh, and how could I forget? Please do not forget, when you stand on your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same. Bye. All right, pile number 3. If you chose the purple fluorite, this is going to be your reading. Now, I am going to do something that we don't usually do on the channel. This is actually something that I see White Feather Tarot do all the time, which is somebody that I myself listen to and love very much. This is not in collaboration or anything, but be sure to check out White Feather Tarot if you're looking for another reader to listen to. That's somebody that I really like to listen to, but she actually keeps a lot of her shuffling in her readings, and I wanted to try that with you all. Let me know how you feel about it down below. I'm going to do the shuffling, but I'm also going to timestamp to your reading. So if you don't care about the shuffling process, you can definitely feel free to go ahead and just head straight into the reading. But let's go ahead and begin the shuffling process. So I gotta tell y'all, I have been connecting with another piece of fluorite lately. Actually looking to see if it was in here. It's not. It's in my bedroom because I've been sleeping with it over my solar plexus, because I was doing a little bit of research into fluorite, and that it's able to help you get clear on your own internal truth and like ease the sense of worry. So that's like for me with my solar plexus, I tend to carry a lot of my anxious feelings in that area. For some people, it's different. Sometimes you carry it in your heart chakra. Sometimes it's in the sacral chakra. Those are like more common areas, but it can be in any one of the chakras. But the fluorite crystal, I just was reading up that it's really good for connecting with for that, and dissipating even like depressive thoughts or depressive episodes. So I've been sleeping with mine, and it's not this purple one, but I feel like it's been doing a good job. So just an extra little note. I'm not saying that crystals are going to like cure the way that you feel. I never want to give that impression, but I do feel like it has been a helper. So the purple fluorite, I assume, can probably do something similar, but the piece that I've been connecting with is purple and green. But just thought I would let you know that. All right, we're gonna give this one more shuffle, and we're gonna see. We're just gonna 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we're going to grab the Archetypes deck by Kim Kranz. It's one of my favorite, most tried and true decks. If you are into depth psychology, anything by Kim Kranz is fantastic, but I find this deck and her newest deck that I have not shared on the channel, I've only been using it for myself lately, those two decks, incredibly great at depth psychology. So just really getting you in tune with like a deeper sense of self. And I feel like these are really gonna just be so good for connecting you with your own authentic path and who your authentic self is. All right, we're gonna do we're gonna do 4 for you. There were 4 that wanted to come. All right, then we're gonna go ahead and get the yogic path cards out. I will link all of these decks down below for you, by the way. I always do. I always take the time to link all the decks that I use down below for you. So if you're ever curious, I usually, oh my goodness, I usually always link them in the order that they appear. So just check that out if you're curious about any of them. Same with like crystals and such. I have a reputable crystal store that I always link down below for you with a coupon code. So be sure to check it out. You had like one card that was kind of wanted to come, but so far no flyers for you. The other piles I felt like had a lot of flying cards, but I don't know, maybe Spirit is being a little more subtle with y'all. So now we're going to get into the Black Moon Astrology. This is one of my favorite decks. This deck in particular, this one, I remember I saw it on the Gem Goddesses channel, which I know a lot of you know who that is. She's another tarot card reader here. I saw it on her channel, but she doesn't always share the decks that she uses. And I went and searched the internet for this deck because I was like, I need to know what that is. And she's a Virgo in the 10th with a lot of Virgo placements. I am better than the FBI at searching things up, and I managed to cross-reference some of the images, and I did find it. Obviously, it's here, but for a long time, I didn't know what this deck was, and it's one of my favorite astrology decks that I own, so good stuff. Thank you, Gem, for showing it to me on your channel. Okay. Now we're also going to grab a Work Your Light Oracle. Love Rebecca Campbell. That's who does this deck. A lot of y'all always ask me how I can shuffle like that. I mean, some of you can do the bridge, but a lot of y'all ask me how I can do that. And let me tell you, A, years of practice, and B, I was telling pile number 2, I feel like I have tarot card reader hands. Like, I have really long spindly fingers and I'm double jointed. Like, so I feel like shuffling is a lot easier for me. But doesn't mean that you can't do it if you're not double jointed and if you don't have long fingers. I just feel like I do have a little bit of an advantage. And lastly, we're going to get a couple from this deck by Amanda Lovelace. I love this deck. Thank you, Lives Light, for showing me this one. I have it because of her. Okay. Going to take 2, and that is going to be your pile. So I'll meet you back in just a second and we will get set up. All right, pile number 3. So this is what we have for you for who is your authentic self. Basically underneath any of the nonsense the world has put on you, we have Gnosis, the Healer, the Gem, and the Vessel. So this is really interesting to me because Gnosis is a card that is like time beyond time, getting into a flow state and really changing and shaking the boundaries of time. I've talked about this with you on my channel lots of times, but maybe this is the first time you're hearing it. The thing that reminds me of Gnosis the most in my own life is a sensory deprivation tank experience. Now, that sounds terrifying, I'm sure. They're also called float spas if you prefer. But basically, my experience with this, and I'm going to tell you about it again, even if you've heard it before, just because it explains this idea of time being different in the best way that I know how to convey it. And basically, I had an experience last fall, almost a year ago, where I went to a float spa at the recommendation of my therapist because I'd been dealing with a lot of just like anxiety and stress after a bunch of panic attacks that I had. And she recommended trying a float spa. And I just did it for myself. Now that I've done it once, I feel like I could do it again and I wouldn't be as afraid because I know what to expect. But it wasn't even a bad experience. It was actually really cool. But basically you get into this pod. A lot of places have them now. You can look them up, like look up float spas if you're curious about what I'm talking about. You get into this pod in a swimsuit, or some places let you do it naked. I think I chose not to wear a swimsuit. Like I chose to actually be naked because I was in my own room too. So you get into this like pot of really, really, really salty water, and it's very like, it makes you buoyant. Even if you're somebody that has trouble floating, you will float, I promise. And you can choose to close the pod and make it dark and turn off the music they have if you want to. I kept the light on and the music because I'm that kind of person, but I did close my eyes and let myself rest. And I felt like I was in there for 12 hours. and they only let you stay in there for an hour. And when I got out, only an hour had passed. But the thing is, when your senses are being so deprived, because you don't have like the internet, you don't have the sensory overload that the world can be, you realize how long time can really stretch. Like I said, I felt like I was in there for hours and it was only an hour. Like I didn't feel like I blinked and it was over. I felt like it took a really long time. And I also think that's because I was fighting the time a little bit too. Like there were points inside the tank where I was like, I could tell that I was tensing my body and I didn't realize it until I let go. It was a really cool experience all around. But my point is that time really does work like that. We think that we only have linear time where it always consistently works the same. And that's not true. Have you ever noticed that when you get into a flow-like state of doing something, time tends to reach on, or you feel like you've spent hours doing something and you realize it's been like 45 minutes and you're like, oh, but just because you were really immersed in it. Sometimes the opposite happens and you lose time and you blink and it's been like 5 hours and you're like, oh my gosh, where did the time go? That's me with Minecraft. I will blink and hours have passed. But Gnosis, as part of your authentic path, I tell you this story because part of your authentic path is actually to learn to get into a flow state more often. This is a huge part of how you connect with yourself. And the more often you can do it, the better. Now, I understand people have kids, people have jobs. There is like the day-to-day grind that can really take away from this sometimes. But the beautiful thing is it doesn't have to be hours upon hours. You can take a 5-minute increment and train yourself to stretch that into what feels like an hour. I promise it is possible. Sounds insane, but even if you just do a little more research on Gnosis yourself, I think you'll be really surprised. But that's part of your authentic path, is to bend time. And you might even find that you're someone that already does this without realizing it. And maybe you didn't have a name for it. Then we have the healer, the gem, and the vessel. Your authentic path, you could be somebody that actually is like a doctor and wants to go into the medical field. I'm not laughing at you. I'm just laughing at how literal the cards can be sometimes. Not every single one of you that's here is going to become a doctor. The reason I brought this up is because the vessel and healer, this is like working with the body, working with the vessel. It could also be animal bodies as well. Maybe you're somebody that wants to work with animals, but healing the vessel. Now, this could also come in other forms of healing. Maybe you want to go into acupuncture. Maybe you want to go into massage therapy. Maybe you want to go into somatic healing. Maybe you want to go into breath work, yogic practice. There are so many different healing modalities. I'm going to spare you listing them all out right now. My point is that your authentic path is to learn about your own vessel so that you can help others heal their own vessel, and learning what works so that you can then transcribe that for others. And it doesn't even mean that you're going to have to go out there and seek these other people. They might just naturally come to you because they see that you're in like your amazing funky flow in your Gnosis, right? Doing your thing, and they want to know how you're doing that. And you maybe have had a life where you've had to go through a lot with your own vessel, your own body, because you are meant to make space for, like, gosh, if I could give you a great example on this, just last week, I was having a meeting with somebody where we were doing some somatic body exercises, and they were explaining to me different movements that we could do. And I'm disabled. I don't know if y'all knew that. I'm not quiet about it. Like, it's not a secret. I have hip and knee dysplasia. I was born with it. And a slew of other medical problems that have come with that. But my point to that, without going too into it, is this person sat there and told me all the different ways we could make adjustments for my body, where I'd never had another practitioner, or practitioner isn't even the right word. I'd never had another healer. I'm going to call this person a healer because I think they really are. I've never had another healer make so much space for someone like me. And I cried. I literally broke down and I was like, these are happy tears. I'm not upset. I've never had somebody make this much space for my body. Thank you. And so I feel like for you, that's a big part of your authentic path, is learning this stuff so that you can create more space where space was not created for you. And the reason I know that this is more about you is because we also have the gem. And the gem is about touching the most deepest, beautiful, most grandest part of ourselves that is hidden deep, deep, deep within inside. It is where, like, I almost want to read this part from the book. I'm going to grab it. Oh, sorry. I was like shook the whole table. I'm going to grab the book really quick and just read this to you. So this is just from the book that comes with these cards. And it says, the diamond, the gold, the inner treasure. There are infinite names for the gem. It is also known as the jewel, the star, the talent, the gift, the gold. One thing for certain is that it is found deep within a substance that is very much unlike it. For example, a diamond in the rough. The gem always stands in contrast to its surroundings. You can't find it when you're among comforts and pleasantries. Precious stones develop slowly deep in the earth amid pressure and darkness. Discovering the gem requires a descent beneath the surface, where there is no definitive map. So your authentic path isn't like something like, I don't even want, that's almost why I felt weird saying like maybe you're going to be a doctor, because I don't feel like the path that you're going into, like maybe you're somebody who once wanted to be a doctor, but then you realize that modern medicine has its own flaws and you want to do something different because of that. And this could go across the board in medical fields. And I'm not trying to demonize the medical field. I would not be alive today without Western medicine. So like, I think we need both. I'm not trying to demonize that. My point is that there are a lot of cracks where science doesn't have every single answer. And it's the same in like therapeutic practices. I think almost every therapist across the board agrees that the DSM-5 is ridiculous. And most people don't 100% agree with it. So I feel like for you, you might be trying to find another path that is more open to encompass more people and make room for more, because you yourself have felt like the outsider before. Anyways, discovering the gem requires a descent beneath the surface where there is no definitive map. Yet the longing to touch the true gem within us is so strong that we cannot help but seek out its radiance. Your gem, like your destiny, is unlike any other in the entire world. Ooh, I just got the chills. Keep digging. So as I was saying, your map for where you are going with these skills and these talents, it's not going to be something that was paved before you. You are doing something intricate and different from the rest of the world. You are doing things in your own way. I mean, we see this in almost every niche, right? Even in like the tarot community. I don't know if y'all know like Charmed Intuition, okay? Fantastic creator. One of the first people I ever saw using charms in their reading, and that really set her apart. Aso Tarot, incredible person in our niche, because actually I feel like she and I are a little bit more similar, but we tend to blend the realm of psychology and bring in self-awareness into tarot, which not everybody does that, right? Those are just tarot examples because that's my niche. But my point is, whatever healing niche you are going into, it is specific for you. And it's not going to be like somebody else's path. And it's almost like you keep looking at what everybody else is doing and you keep getting misguided as you're doing that. You need to be searching deeper within yourself for the answers versus looking at what everybody else is doing. Then we have for you the Ace of Cups. We have the Three of Swords. The Five of Wands. The Six of Wands, and the Two of Coins. So this I think is really interesting too, because you're not going to not be challenged. I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because I'm a Gemini moon and it makes me uncomfortable. So if you ever hear me laughing, it's not because I'm making fun of you. It's because when shit is serious, it's like all I know how to do. I'm sorry. I am that person that gets the fucking funeral giggles. It's actually really inappropriate and I'm so sorry. But I promise you it's not because it's actually funny. So the Three of Swords and the Five of Wands, what this tells me is, number one, the more you try to follow somebody else's authentic path to make your own, the more you're going to keep breaking your own heart. The more you are going to suffer under that. And the Five of Wands tells me that you're not going to be met without challenge on this journey. This is not going to be easy. There are going to be people that challenge what you say. There are going to be people that tell you to wake up, to stop dreaming, to stop pretending like A, B, and C don't matter. That, there are going to be so many people out there that try to challenge you. But the thing is, the more that you continue to fill up this well within yourself, you eventually will come out the other side, because the Six of Wands is recognition for what you're doing. So it's really important that you don't internalize every naysayer. There is a difference between listening to people talk shit about you and listening to constructive criticism. I don't know a single content creator on this app that doesn't feel that way, that doesn't know or they might not always know the difference, especially if you're new, but there are always going to be people that attack what you're doing or tell you that it's not for them or why you're wrong or why what you're doing is the worst or, A, B, C, and D, right? But the right people that need your work will show up. And I know this because the Six of Wands is recognition and getting recognition for what you're doing. It just is going to come with time. And Spirit is asking you to continue to stay dedicated to your authentic journey instead of letting other people get in there and disrupt your vision. You are meant to stay committed. And the Two of Coins, I feel like, I don't know why, but I just heard when I saw this card, I heard Ayurvedic. I don't know if you're interested in Ayurveda, but there might be something about balancing your body with Ayurveda or some kind of alternative medicine, I guess you could say. There's something about balancing your body and you kind of cracking the code on something. And again, please remember that your way will not be the way for everyone. That is true across the board with every kind of medicine that we have. For some people, Western medicine is not it. For some people, Ayurveda is not it. For some people, somatic therapy is not it. For, there are going to be different things and different modalities that work for different people. The important thing for you to remember is that you are not supposed to be for every single person. You are supposed to be for your people, and obviously make room to learn, to educate. Don't become rigid. That is the great balance of being a human, I feel like, is not letting yourself become rigid, but knowing when to take criticism and when people are just picking on you. That's going to be a hard part of your journey, especially if you consider yourself to be a very sensitive soul. But this is a big part of that authentic journey, and your authentic self is learning how to balance your own body and feel good and feel empowered in your own vessel. Now, we also have for you the Grand Cross, the Provoker. Again, your path is not like everybody else's, and people are going to have a problem with it. The 12th house of escape and the part of fortune increase. This is going to make you a lot of money. Not everybody's authentic path is meant to be their career. I will say this until I am blue in the face. Not everybody's path is meant to be their career. I know in today's world, especially with the millennial generation, and I feel like I can speak on that because I am a millennial, a lot of us were conditioned and taught to monetize every little thing that we do. And it's actually really unfortunate because some of us, that is not going to be the case, right? Some of us our hobbies are going to be the things that really feed our passion, and our line of work is going to be something else that we don't love as much. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with a 9 to 5. But I do feel we don't need to talk about that. Okay, I'm getting sidetracked. Spirit is Spirit's like, no, Kloee, just stop. My point is that is not you. You are somebody that through this passion, this commitment, this dedication to your own personal healing, this actually will make you rich. This will make you have an increase of finance, because the part of fortune, this is the point where we can reach fortune in our chart, or our lot of fortune, where fortune can spring up. And it's not like, oh, you're hitting your Taurus transit, so you're making money and getting paid. It's literally the lot of fortune. So I think about this like making a lot of money when this comes up. And it's because you're doing something that is different, that is alternative, that isn't what everybody else is teaching. It's almost like how, this is like the only example that's coming to mind for me right now. And I'm so sorry for any of you that have dealt with religious trauma. I'm not trying to bring anybody's traumas back up. I myself had a religious background that I had to get away from for me. I don't hate on any of my Christian followers. I think you're all fabulous. But even like the story of Jesus Christ, right? The story of Jesus Christ, where he was teaching people about how to love thy neighbor and all of these wonderful teachings. Truthfully, like from my perspective, I still think Jesus was a man that taught great things. Like his intentions were good, but still provoked some people, right? People didn't like what he was teaching and literally crucified him for it. And I'm not saying you're going to get crucified, but you are somebody, like there will be people that will come to try to shut down the things that you do and create, but you are meant to prevail and not run away from the problem, because the 12th house, escape, sometimes we can try to escape through our 12th house in our chart, which I always recommend looking towards your birth chart for that information, like where you try to find escape. The 12th house is the house of Pisces, and it is often where we will try to escape through. So if you know anything about astrology, I would always encourage you to look it up. You can go to astroseek.com is my favorite website. It's free to use. And if you're still unsure, shameless self-plug, I do offer birth chart readings. You can book on my website, KhloeTaylor.com. But no pressure, of course, just letting you know that I do those. And if you ever want to know more about this, you can ask that question on the order and I can try to look through it for you. But the 12th house also is an extremely spiritual house. I would say that it actually is the house that can depict being a healer in your birth chart. If you have a lot of 12th house placements, oftentimes these people have a very healing energy about them. So it's really interesting that this would come out for you, because I do sense that you are a healer in this lifetime. That is your authentic path, no matter what it looks like. And I also want to say, when we think of healers, really break the idea of what you think a healer should be like, because that's part of your path. You're not supposed to be somebody sitting up on a rock meditating, giving people sage advice, unless that's really what you want to do with your life, which no shame in your game. Just my point is that I feel like we have this misconception of what healers are supposed to look like, behave like, and be like. And you could literally just be somebody that like helps build wells in another country and brings the healing waters to people, right? There are so many ways that you can enact as a healer. Break the idea of what you think a healer should look like. And you're going to anyways, because you're the provoker. So we also have for you, this I thought was really interesting. I actually looked these ones up before I laid them out. Check this out. So you got the card Krishna, but you also got the card Radha or Radha. I'm not really sure exactly how to say that. I don't know why these are crooked. I'm going to bring this card over here. So Radha, and you also have Krishna. These cards actually go together. Radha is actually the lover of Krishna, and they gave up everything to be with him. So I feel like you're definitely meant, your authentic path does link up with someone else. There is somebody that you are meant to, and they could be a lover. I would say there's a strong indication that this is somebody that you're going to be in a relationship with. Maybe you're both going to do healing work together. That's going to be part of your life mission. But Radha is the goddess of passionate love and longing, and Krishna is the god of compassion and love. So it's interesting to me that you would get both of them in your reading because they go together. So your authentic path, that was really what I got from these, is that you and your partner, most likely, it could be a business partner, but I'm really getting that it's meant to be more romantic because they are a romantic pair. You and your partner are meant to do healing work together. You're not going to be doing this by yourself. So if there's somebody in your life that you look towards with this kind of stuff, there's a reason for that. Now, we also have Answer the Call. What is your soul calling you to do? And again, your path is not like everybody else's. You have something special to create in this world. And you're being drawn into this reading because maybe you already feel that deep inside, but you needed the confirmation to step forward. And Spirit brought you here to tell you to answer the call to yourself, to step forward into your highest version of self, and to step forward even if you feel scared, even if you feel like you're going to let yourself down, even if people tell you that it's not a great idea. One of my favorite stories, and I'm so sorry to my spouse and anybody who was a part of this. I'm not trying to shit talk anybody in my life, but to give you a perfect example of this energy of if you're scared, do it anyways if you feel called. I will never forget this. I was doing gaming back in 2013. I don't remember the day that I changed my username. It might have been like 2 or 3 years into my gaming career. But my original username was Sims3 Copperfox. I know, what a name. But my original username was Sims3 Copperfox, and then it was Copperfox, and then it was Copperfox Games, and I tried kind of some variations, but I'll never forget, I kept asking Spirit, because I've always been a very spiritual person, like my entire life, even growing up Mormon. Before I left the Mormon church, I was still very, very, very spiritual. Always doing book divination. I've always been a diviner since I was really young. But I had been asking Spirit and asking Spirit and asking Spirit, I really feel like I need to rebrand this channel. Can you help me figure out what the perfect name is? Can you give me a sign? And I about fell out of my chair. I was watching Pretty Little Liars. This is such a weird story. I was watching Pretty Little Liars. I literally bought cable TV at one point in my 20s because I wanted to watch this show as it was airing. I was obsessed. And maybe you're somebody that loved this show too, so you'll know even more that this was your reading. But one of the people in the credits, their last name is Coffee. And I don't know if you've ever experienced this before, like just a complete and utter knowing of something. When I saw this name roll through the credits, I literally almost fell off the couch. Like, I knew that this was my name. I was like, that's it. I'm going to be Coffee, but with a K. And I know that sounds so stupid. It sounds like such a basic ass name. But when I tell you, I rebranded myself like 2 days later. After I asked my spouse, I asked all my friends what they thought of this name. Every single person told me not to do it. Every single person was like, I don't know, Kloee. Like, that's just like, it's whatever. Like, I guess it's okay. My gaming sector online blew up after that. And maybe it wasn't a direct correlation, but I felt like it was. Everybody knew me as Coffee with a K. And I feel like it was until Coffee the Artist came out, I felt like I had a really good run of it. Like, and I was coffee obsessed, like with the beverage as well. So it was just like that kind of thing where everybody in my life that I trusted to talk to about this before I did it told me not to do it. But I knew within my heart that I had to. I was like, no, there was no other way to explain that experience that I had. It was true divine intervention. And I knew without a shadow of a doubt, nobody could tell me otherwise, because psychically, sometimes I get downloads like that where I just know, and you don't really know how else to explain it. It's just like a deep inner knowing. And with that, I made the changes to my name and everything changed after that. That was when like I got flown across the country twice to meet with Electronic Arts to play versions of the game I had been playing before they were released. I met with all these other creators that were at the top as well. And it was so crazy how everything happened after that. And it was because I listened to myself. And that, I feel like, is really where you're at. There might be people that don't agree, but you need to answer the call for yourself. Now, again, I know that story was really silly, but I'm sure I had to tell it for a reason. And the last two cards I have for you are Red, Forgive. And we also have Mural, Be Your Own First Priority. So that card I feel like is self-explanatory. But with Red, Forgive, this is about forgiving yourself before you knew. Maybe you've known for a while and you've been denying your inner call, your inner truth, your inner authentic path for whatever reason, out of fear, out of shame. There are so many reasons to deny our authentic path. So many. And you need to forgive yourself for what you didn't know that you now know. Maybe in this moment, forgive yourself. But the mural, Be Your Own First Priority. I feel like that's extremely self-explanatory for this reading. You need to put yourself first and stop worrying about what everybody else is going to think about your choices, about what you're doing, about who you are, about who you came here to be. Your path is your own, and you are meant to walk in a way that isn't going to be like every other person's. And because of that, it might stir some things in other people, but that's not your problem to micromanage it. You have to show up for yourself. And truly, Spirit is saying you will live a life like beyond what you could imagine when you start to answer the call. So that is what I have for you, pile number 3. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please do not forget, when you stand on your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same. Don't forget to check out today's sponsors, Briogeo, and use my link as well as my code to get 15% off. I literally used that stuff on my hair today and it feels so good. So definitely check them out. Thank you again so much to them for sponsoring today's video. And please, my beautiful pumpkins, don't forget to join the Discord. The link is down below. Literally almost 200 of you have joined already. And every day somebody's in there having a conversation with somebody. And I love it. Even if you don't want to talk and you just want to like be a part of the community and witness everybody else talking, you can totally do that too. You are more than allowed to just be a lurker. But I would really love to have you in there as part of the community. So please do join. Also the Patreon, we are doing Summerween on July 31st. We are doing a wine and paint night or a mocktail and paint night, whatever you want to bring. I will be bringing a mental health art project. If y'all want to join in, you can bring whatever medium you want to bring. Sketching, painting is what I'm going to do, chalk, whatever you want to use. I will be bringing an activity for us to do, but you can paint whatever. We are actually going to be doing like a call where we have like, you can join the camera and actually talk if you want to. You can lurk if you want to. You don't have to do art if you don't want to. You can just come and watch everybody else. It might just be me sitting there doing art and nobody else doing any art. So, it might just be like a little Bob Ross moment, a little Kloee Ross moment. But we're just going to be hanging out. I'm calling it our Summerween event because it's happening on the 31st of July, which will be coming up soon. And also, if you join the Patreon, you get a bunch more stuff than that. You get a ton of extra pick a cards, weekly energy updates, a book club. There are so many wonderful things and I would love to have you be a part of it. So link down below for that. If you would like to help my channel any further, I do have my Cashapp, Venmo, PayPal listed down below for you, as well as my wish list. There is no pressure to tip me for my readings or buy me a gift, but it is always always appreciated. And if you would like to book a reading with me, I do have my website, KhloeTaylor.com, available to you. I did just recently put some birth charts up for sale. I don't often put those out, so get them while you can. I maybe book like 5 a season, so I really don't do a ton of those. And if you want one, make sure that you snag one. Because I think they were almost sold out last time I checked. So make sure you snag one if you want one. I do restock pretty regularly, but I do sense that I'm going to be taking a little bit of a break from readings here soon. So whatever's there, make sure that you get it. I will never solicit you for a reading outside of my videos, just so you're aware. If anybody ever comes to you in your DMs on social media claiming to be me, they are not me. I can promise you that. I will never do that to you. Do not fall for that. It is always a scam. You heard it here first. If you would want to book a reading with me, you have to go through KhloeTaylor.com. That's the only place. And if you want to follow me on social media, always use my links because those are the correct ones, all down there in the below bar in my nether regions. And last but certainly not least, many of y'all did not know, but you told me to talk about it more. I released merch like forever ago, and then I never really talked about it. So if you would like to buy any of my merchandise, it's available to you. There's a link down below. I recently got myself a new hermit sweater. Every year we do a new tarot card, and this past year we did the hermit tarot card, which I felt like was really, actually, it might have even been 2020 that we did the hermit, but I just never really talked about it. And we've had that since 2020, and it's actually really cute. I bought myself one in like just this last month. I bought myself one and wore it to the Space Needle in Seattle. I put pictures out on my Instagram. I bought it oversized so I could wear it almost like a dress with some tall boots. Very comfy, very cute. And it's the Hermit Tarot card. Who doesn't want that? So if you want to get that, be sure you do. Okay, longest outro of my life. Pumpkin, just know that I love you so much. Please trust in your authentic path, and I will talk to you all again very, very soon. Bye.